Yeah, hey, this is David. Today's class it's talking about the importance of the sequence in a yoga class. And this is my mate George, and this is a simple yoga class. And today we're going to talk about the importance of the sequence in a class. Each pose is built on the pose before it and is preparing you for the close after it. And what I love about our yoga class is that every class I end in Savasana, and what George is going to do for us is just demonstrate Savasana so that you know where you should end up at the end of the class. So you normally don't have a pillow, but I've got a pillow here for George because George has been a pretty good mate for me, so I want to look after George because, if I don't look after him, he's not going to model for me. So this is Savasana. I just dropped George on his stomach. I'm going to have to roll him over in a minute, but you can get the gist of it. He's going to relax down there. I'm going to move his bucket out of the way. George thinks it's his home. We won't tell him otherwise. It's actually a bucket. He's a mop, but anyway, let's not get distracted. I'm not sure if this is going live. That's why I'm being a bit frivolous with it all. Yeah, the yoga sequence is important. So is the sequence in which I get everything ready to go live. Anyone out there who's making live YouTube, I take my hat off to you. So anyway, while I'm waiting for you to join me, what I want, like those who are there, is to start to take some deeper breaths. Every opportunity that you get through the day, take the opportunity to become present and to become aware of your breath. This is, I think, the fourth time I've tried to make this sequence, or this YouTube thing. So the sequence that we have in the classes that I teach, it came from the teaching that I had, which came originally from Baron Baptiste, and it's a power yoga sequence. But I've seen that most classes have very similar sequence. So what we do is we start in integration, and integration could be Tadasana. I'm integrating with you now, just coming to a place of, trying to let go of what happened this morning, 10, 15 minutes ago. That integration, it could be child's pose, it could be Savasana, or it could be a seated position, meditating for a moment before the class actually starts. You'll notice that I'm swinging backwards and forwards. I haven't been drinking, not yet anyway. If this doesn't work, I will be. So integration, just becoming present. Child's pose, Savasana, and then after integration I invite the class to come to a seated position, an easy pose, Sukhasana. And then we might do Nadi Shrodhana, alternate nostril breathing, the full yogic breath where we inhale into the bottom of the lungs and then the middle and then the top. And when you exhale in the full yogic breath, you exhale from the bottom and the middle and the top, and you're keeping the collarbones lifted. There's different pranayamas that we could do, Voluma, 1, 2 and 3. And then after we've done integration, we might do some warm up of the spine through some cat and cows, and then we come into the standing poses, sun salutations, Surya Namaskara A, Surya Namaskara B. And you will have seen it if you've been watching some YouTube, and if you've not, go back and refresh yourself with some classes that I've already done. So with the standing poses, we come up into Tadasana, really connect. I've got my feet spread today, and that's okay. It's the awareness of where the body is that's important. So we come up into Tadasana, we forward fold, keeping our back straight, halfway lift, step back into a high plank, go through the chaturanga, upward facing dog, and then we push back into our down dog. Lots of down dogs. Down dog's awesome, as I've shared. So we do a few sets of Sun A, and then we come into Sun B, Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Exalted Warrior. I love the transition from Warrior 1 to Warrior 2. It's the only time I really feel that graceful. And then after sun A, sun B, we come into some more standing poses. We might do side angle, Trikonasana. We can do some straddles. And then after the standing poses, we come into the balances. And the balances, again, we can do Vrikshasana, tree pose. We can do Garudasana. We can do half moon. We can do warrior three. Lots of poses. And after the poses before it, we've got some equanimity, so we can find that space and that place where we can actually find the balances, the really important balances. Balances work the core. Balances, we've got a really soft focus, broad focus. It's not concentrating on one point, it's having a broad focus. And then after the balances, we come down to the floor. We do some back bends on our stomach, roll over onto our back. We can do bridge pose, wheel, if it's in your practice. After the back bends, we then come into the abdominal work. I'm doing less and less crunches, curling the back, abdominal work now. I'm focusing on keeping the back straight and working the transverse abdominis, working the obliques. And the other one that's slipping at the moment, where you get the six-pack, you'll know what I mean. But there's a lot of abdominal work that we can do without curling the back. Keeping the back flat's important. It's not to take out the natural curve of the spine. That's important. We don't want to take that out, but it's keeping the natural curvature of the spine. So we've done our back bends now. We've done the abdominals. After the abdominals, we come into our inversions. It might be Viparita Karani against the wall. You might be practicing shoulder stands. I invite the class sometimes to practice a few handstands, because handstands are safe if you've got the strength to support your weight. If you don't have the strength, I've got exercises where you can actually, start to build up strength so you can support yourself in a handstand. And headstands, you've got to be very careful. It's very easy. I heard a story once of a yoga teacher who dislocated C4 and C5, or popped the discs out of the neck. So even experienced people can have injury practicing headstands, so be careful with them. And then after we've done our inversions, just a couple of twists. And twists are good. It's not that we're twisting the body, that happens, but what we're really doing is massaging the internal organs. And they're going to have a party, your kidney and your liver and your spleen and your bowel. There's lots of movement happening there. And if you're ever having trouble with your movements, have some twists. We'll create a movement for you, guaranteed. It's very good. Yeah. You know where I'm going with that. I don't need to explain it. You get the picture. And then we come into Savasana. Look at George. Now I'm just going to roll him over. He's been on his stomach. There you go. Keep your eyes shut. Favourite pose. Some people get up and leave when we come into Savasana, and it's a shame because it's the hardest pose, but it's the one with the most reward. If we didn't have all the poses before Savasana wouldn't have the significance that it does. We're building up muscle memory. The poses that we've worked through, the cues that you've been given, they're all bouncing around in your body, and you're getting time to just allow the memory of the muscle memory to absorb those. So really important. It's important to, if you've got quite a big curvature in your neck, to roll up a towel so that you don't collapse into the neck, keeping the neck just a natural curvature. Have your feet a comfortable distance apart. And then the most important thing in Savasana is for the teacher to be quiet. I read somewhere that one of the biggest complaints about yoga teachers is that they talk too much. So there you go. And I'm trying to listen to that, and I give the cues for the poses, and then I let the class have the poses rest on them and just resonate with them. And I really encourage the class to make the micro adjustments that they need to have the correct anatomical alignment. So there we go. This has been a really important little talk. No physical practice, but the sequence in the class is important. I had one student that, very early in the class said, "Oh, can we have some hip openers?" We weren't warmed up enough for the hip openers, and it rattled my cage a little bit. I'm a little bit better now. I'd probably ask her to go and talk to George and get George's input on the importance of the sequence. So there we go, Simple Yoga class. This is David. If you've enjoyed it, press the notification bell and subscription. I love your comments. Please feed back to me what you think of what I've said, and if you've not agreed with it, that's also great. And if you've not liked it, that's also great. A lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts, and they'll say, no, don't like them. It doesn't mean that they've not been of value. So please, look forward to your comments. Bye.